So now let's do something a little bit different. I've got these files now, right? File 1, File 2, File 3. We're going to edit their permissions. So I'm going to use the chmod command. I don't need sudo because I already own the file, so I can do whatever I want with it. That's discretionary access control, right? So I'm going to use file permission 644 for file 1. And if I look at the permissions, you can see that's pretty much what it already is, right? 644. But for file 2, I'm going to make a bit of a change here. So for file 2, and I'm going to use a different method. I'm going to set the attributes for user to be read write, and then I'm going to set the attributes for global and other, which is pretty much, you know, everyone, right, to nothing, right? So no permissions at all. And then we'll use file 2. So it's just a different mechanism. I could have used the numbers, but I'm using the symbolic method instead. You'll see that both are available if you use the man pages to look at that command. Now notice that read access is no longer on file 2. So I remove read access. I only have access to that file. No one else should see that file. And then finally for file 3, I'll change the ownership for that one. I'm going to transfer the ownership of that one to my test user and also to the test group. If I didn't add that :test, then it would still be in my group. So I'm going to transfer complete control of that file over to some other user. In this case, test, of course, right? Oops. Because it's a different user account, I have to use the sudo command. All right, look at that. We now can see the correct permissions there for that file number 2. We can see that test now owns that last file, file 3. Now I'm going to swing over to my test user account and let's see if there's any changes here. So first we want to attempt to edit file number 1. So I'm going to use vi, try to edit file 1. I'm going to insert some stuff. This should be no different, right? Because we were able to do that before. If I output the contents of file 1, you can see it allowed me to edit even though I'm supposed to have read-only access to it. But now let's see if I can still delete file 2 now that we changed the permissions on it. So I think that worked, right? So use the ll command, the ls command, file 2 is gone. So even though I'm not supposed to have any access to it, I was still able to delete that file, right? So explain why that worked. It's because of the permissions on the overall file, right? So that kind of ruins our day. Just like before, we're going to have to remove, I can't do it here. I'm going to go back to, well, actually, this account has to remove file 1 in theory. But let's see if it works over here now that we transferred ownership. So we're going to remove everything. Yes, remove file 1. Yes, remove file 3. So I was able to remove the file even though I don't own it, right? It let me remove it. I'm going to go ahead and touch file 1, file 2, file 3 so we can recreate our files, and then we'll move on to the next step.